The invasion begins. Earth's first contact and fall. The day the world changed forever started like any other. Dr. Elena Reyes, lead astronomer at the Arecibo Observatory in Puerto Rico, yawned as she pored over the latest data from deep space. Her eyes, bloodshot from countless hours of staring at screens, suddenly widened. An anomaly in the readings caught her attention, a pattern too regular to be natural. "Hey, Jake," she called out to her assistant. "Come take a look at this." Jake shuffled over, coffee mug in hand. "What's up, Doc?" he quipped, eliciting an eye roll from Elena. "These signals, they're not random. Look at the pattern." As Jake leaned in, the computers around them suddenly erupted in a cacophony of alerts. Screens flickered, displaying a rapidly approaching object entering the solar system at impossible speeds. "What the hell?" Jake muttered, furiously typing commands to get a clearer picture. Elena's face paled. "It's changing course. It's heading straight for Earth." Within hours, the news spread like wildfire. Governments worldwide scrambled to respond, but against what they didn't know. Military forces were mobilized, scientists consulted, and the public oscillated between panic and disbelief. As the object neared, its true nature became apparent. It wasn't just one ship, but an armada. Massive vessels that dwarfed anything humanity had ever constructed. They entered Earth's orbit with precision, their sleek obsidian hulls reflecting the sun's light like polished mirrors. For 3 days, the world held its breath. The aliens made no attempt at communication, no declaration of intent. They simply waited, a sword of Damocles hanging over the planet. On the 4th day, they struck. The attack began without warning. Energy beams of blinding intensity rained down from the ships, vaporizing entire cities in seconds. New York, Tokyo, London, Moscow. Metropolises that had stood for centuries were reduced to ash and rubble in the blink of an eye. Humanity's military response was swift but futile. Fighter jets were swatted from the sky like insects. Nuclear missiles, launched in desperation, detonated harmlessly against impenetrable shields. The aliens' technology was so advanced, it might as well have been magic. In the chaos of those first few hours, billions perished. Those who survived the initial onslaught faced a new nightmare, the ground invasion. Alien dropships descended from the larger vessels, disgorging legions of biomechanical soldiers. These weren't the frail, big-headed creatures of human imagination, but towering behemoths of metal and synthetic flesh, armed with weapons that defied understanding. Among the defenders of Washington, D.C. was Marine Sergeant Sarah Connor. As she crouched behind a crumbling wall, plasma bolts sizzling overhead, she couldn't help but appreciate the irony of her name. "If only this were a movie," she muttered, checking the ammo in her M4 carbine. It felt woefully inadequate against the alien onslaught. "Sarge," Private Rodriguez called out, "we can't hold them back. What do we do?" Sarah gritted her teeth. "We fight, Rodriguez. We fight until we can't." The invasion begins. Earth's first contact and fall. The day the world changed forever started like any other. Dr. Elena Reyes, lead astronomer at the Arecibo Observatory in Puerto Rico, yawned as she pored over the latest data from deep space. Her eyes, bloodshot from countless hours of staring at screens, suddenly widened. An anomaly in the readings caught her attention, a pattern too regular to be natural. "Hey, Jake," she called out to her assistant. "Come take a look at this." Jake shuffled over, coffee mug in hand. "What's up, Doc?" he quipped, eliciting an eye roll from Elena. "These signals, they're not random. Look at the pattern." As Jake leaned in, the computers around them suddenly erupted in a cacophony of alerts. Screens flickered, displaying a rapidly approaching object entering the solar system at impossible speeds. "What the hell?" Jake muttered, furiously typing commands to get a clearer picture. Elena's face paled. "It's changing course. It's heading straight for Earth." Within hours, the news spread like wildfire. Governments worldwide scrambled to respond, but against what? They didn't know. Military forces were mobilized, scientists consulted, and the public oscillated between panic and disbelief. As the object neared, its true nature became apparent. It wasn't just one ship, but an armada, massive vessels that dwarfed anything humanity had ever constructed. They entered Earth's orbit with precision, their sleek, obsidian hulls reflecting the sun's light like polished mirrors. For 3 days, the world held its breath. The aliens made no attempt at communication, no declaration of intent. They simply waited, a sword of Damocles hanging over the planet. On the 4th day, they struck. The attack began without warning. Energy beams of blinding intensity rained down from the ships, vaporizing entire cities in seconds. New York, Tokyo, London, Moscow. Metropolises that had stood for centuries were reduced to ash and rubble in the blink of an eye. Humanity's military response was swift but futile. Fighter jets were swatted from the sky like insects. Nuclear missiles, launched in desperation, detonated harmlessly against impenetrable shields. The aliens' technology was so advanced, it might as well have been magic. In the chaos of those first few hours, billions perished. Those who survived the initial onslaught faced a new nightmare, the ground invasion. Alien dropships descended from the larger vessels, disgorging legions of biomechanical soldiers. These weren't the frail, big-headed creatures of human imagination, but towering behemoths of metal and synthetic flesh, armed with weapons that defied understanding. Among the defenders of Washington, D.C. was Marine Sergeant Sarah Connor. As she crouched behind a crumbling wall, plasma bolts sizzling overhead, she couldn't help but appreciate the irony of her name. If only this were a movie, she muttered, checking the ammo in her M4 carbine. It felt woefully inadequate against the alien onslaught. "Sarge," Private Rodriguez called out. "We can't hold them back. What do we do?" Sarah gritted her teeth. "We fight, Rodriguez. We fight until we can't." And fight they did. For hours, Sarah and her squad held their position, their desperate stand buying time for civilians to evacuate. But for every alien they managed to bring down, dozens more took its place. As the perimeter collapsed and the aliens closed in, Sarah made a decision. "Fall back," she ordered. "We're no good to anyone dead. Live to fight another day." The retreat was chaos. Sarah watched in horror as soldiers and civilians alike were cut down by alien weapons or crushed under the treads of their war machines. The screams of the dying mixed with the otherworldly shriek of alien technology, creating a hellish symphony. As night fell, the ruins of Washington, D.C. burned. Sarah and the remnants of her squad, along with a handful of shell-shocked civilians, huddled in the darkness of a subway tunnel. Above ground, the aliens began the systematic destruction of human civilization. In the days that followed, a grim picture emerged. The alien invasion was global, simultaneous, and overwhelming. Major population centers were annihilated, infrastructure destroyed, and any organized resistance crushed. Humanity, for all its achievements, was brought to its knees in a matter of days. But even in the face of such devastation, the human spirit refused to be extinguished. In hidden bunkers, secret laboratories, and underground shelters, pockets of resistance began to form. Scientists worked tirelessly to understand the alien technology. Military strategists planned guerrilla campaigns, and ordinary people, driven by an extraordinary will to survive, adapted to a world forever changed. Dr. Alina Reyes, having narrowly escaped the destruction of Arecibo, found herself in one such resistance cell. In a makeshift lab deep beneath the Appalachian Mountains, she pored over the data she had managed to salvage. "There has to be something here," she murmured, her eyes scanning line after line of code. "Some weakness, some flaw we can exploit." Next to her, Jake, who had insisted on staying with her through their harrowing escape, worked on retrofitting human technology with scavenged alien components. "Even if we find something," he said, his voice tinged with fatigue and despair, How do we fight back? They've taken everything. Elena turned to him, her eyes blazing with determination. Not everything, Jake. They haven't taken our will to live, our ability to adapt. Humanity has faced extinction before. Ice ages, plagues, our own destructive nature. Each time, we've come back stronger. She gestured to the complex equations on her screen. This invasion, it's just another challenge. One we'll overcome, like all the others. Jake managed a weak smile. You really believe that? I have to, Elena replied. We all have to, because the moment we give up hope is the moment they truly win. As if in response to her words, an alarm blared through the bunker. Elena and Jake rushed to the command center, where screens showed a group of human survivors fleeing from alien patrols, heading towards the bunker's hidden entrance. They'll lead the aliens right to us, someone shouted. Sarah Connor, who had joined this resistance cell after her escape from Washington, stepped forward. No, they won't, she said, her voice steady. Because we're going out there to get them. Elena nodded. I'll go with you. My knowledge of alien tech might come in handy. As they geared up for the rescue mission, Elena couldn't help but feel a glimmer of hope. Yes, the aliens had destroyed much of humanity, but they had failed to destroy the very thing that made humans unique. Their indomitable spirit, their capacity for compassion even in the darkest times, and their ability to find strength in unity. The alien invaders thought they had wiped out humanity. They were about to learn how wrong they were. As Sarah, Elena, and their team moved out into the alien-controlled night, the first seeds of humanity's resurgence were sown. The war for Earth was far from over. In fact, it had only just begun. Underground resistance, humanity's secret weapon. The rescue mission led by Sergeant Sarah Connor and Dr. Elena Reyes was a success, but it came at a cost. As they ushered the survivors into the hidden bunker entrance, Private Rodriguez took a direct hit from an alien energy weapon, sacrificing himself to buy the others time. His loss weighed heavily on Sarah, a grim reminder of the stakes they faced. Inside the bunker, now nicknamed Haven, the rescued group brought valuable intelligence. Among them was Dr. Yuki Tanaka, a renowned nanotechnology expert from Japan, who had miraculously survived the destruction of Tokyo. The aliens aren't just destroying our cities, Yuki explained during the debriefing. They're terraforming the planet, changing its atmosphere, altering the ecosystem. Earth is being remade to suit them. The news sent a chill through the room. Elena leaned forward, her brow furrowed. That explains the changes in atmospheric composition we've been detecting. But why? Why not just wipe us out completely? Resources, Sarah interjected. Earth must have something they need. They're not just conquerors, they're colonists. The revelation sparked a flurry of activity in Haven. If the aliens were here to stay, understanding their technology and biology became paramount. Elena and Yuki threw themselves into research, working tirelessly to unravel the mysteries of the invaders. Weeks passed, and the resistance grew. Similar bunkers across the globe made contact, forming a loose network of humanity's last stand. They called themselves the Phoenix Initiative, a symbol of humanity's determination to rise from the ashes. Sarah took charge of military operations, training survivors in guerrilla tactics. We can't match their firepower, she told her ragtag army. But we have something they don't. Knowledge of our own planet. Every hill, every cave, every ruined city can be our ally. Their first major victory came 2 months after the initial invasion. A small team, led by Sarah, managed to down an alien shuttle using a makeshift EMP device developed by Elena and Yuki. The captured craft and its technology were a goldmine of information. As Elena pored over the alien systems, she made a startling discovery. These quantum processors, she exclaimed, her eyes wide with excitement. They're not just computing. They're thinking. The entire ship is a living, artificial intelligence. Yuki nodded, her face illuminated by holographic displays. And look at this. She pointed to a complex molecular structure. Their weapons, their shields, they're all based on manipulating quantum fields. It's like they've weaponized the fabric of reality itself. The breakthrough was significant, but it also highlighted the vast technological gap between humanity and their invaders. How could they hope to fight an enemy that wielded the fundamental forces of the universe as weapons? The answer came from an unexpected source. Jake, who had been tinkering with a combination of salvaged alien tech and human ingenuity, burst into the lab one day, his face flushed with excitement. "I've got it," he shouted, holding up what looked like a mess of wires and crystalline structures. "A quantum field disruptor, small scale, but it works." Elena and Yuki were skeptical at first, but Jake's invention proved to be the game changer they needed. By reverse engineering the alien quantum technology and combining it with human creativity, they had stumbled upon humanity's secret weapon. The quantum disruptors weren't powerful enough to take down the massive alien ships, but they could temporarily disable their personal shields and smaller vehicles. It was a start, a chink in the invaders' seemingly impenetrable armor. As news of the invention spread through the resistance network, hope began to flourish. Humanity had been down, but they were far from out. The Phoenix Initiative launched a series of coordinated strikes against alien outposts, each one more successful than the last. Sarah led many of these missions herself, her tactical acumen and fierce determination inspiring those around her. After one particularly daring raid, she stood before her team, her face smudged with dirt and blood, but her eyes shining with pride. "Every day we grow stronger," she said. "Every battle, we learn more. They thought they could break us, but they've only made us more resilient. We are humanity, adaptable, resourceful, and united in the face of adversity." Her words resonated deeply with the resistance fighters. They had lost so much: homes, loved ones, their entire way of life. But in the crucible of invasion, they had forged a new strength, a unity that transcended old borders and divisions. Back in Haven, Elena and Yuki's research took an unexpected turn. As they delved deeper into the alien AI systems, they began to uncover something unsettling. "These thought patterns," Elena murmured, pointing to a complex neural map. "They're familiar, almost human-like in some ways." Yuki nodded grimly. "I've noticed it too. It's as if they've incorporated aspects of other species' consciousness into their own." The implication was chilling. Had Earth not been the aliens' first conquest? Were they facing not just an invasion, but the assimilated knowledge and capabilities of countless fallen civilizations? As they grappled with this new information, an alert blared through Haven. Long-range sensors had detected a massive energy buildup in the alien fleet orbiting Earth. Something big was coming. Sarah rushed into the lab, her face taut with tension. "We're picking up transmissions. Encrypted, but the volume is off the charts. Whatever they're planning, it's happening soon." Elena's mind raced. The terraforming, the familiar thought patterns in the AI, the sudden flurry of alien activity, it all pointed to a horrifying conclusion. "They're not just changing Earth," she said, her voice barely above a whisper. "They're going to try to change us, forcibly evolve or assimilate humanity to suit their needs." The room fell silent as the weight of her words sank in. They had thought they were fighting for their survival, for their planet. Now they realized they were fighting for the very essence of what it meant to be human. Yuki was the first to break the silence. "Then we need to act now. Take the fight to them before they can implement whatever this is." Sarah nodded, her jaw set with determination. "Agreed. We've been reactive for too long. It's time to take the offensive." As the resistance leaders began to plan their most ambitious operation yet, Elena couldn't help but feel a mix of fear and exhilaration. They were outgunned, outnumbered, and facing an enemy of unimaginable technological superiority. But they had surprise on their side, and more importantly, the unbreakable human spirit. Looking around at the faces of her comrades, Sarah's unwavering determination, Yuki's quiet brilliance, Jake's irrepressible optimism. Alina felt a surge of hope. The aliens had made a crucial mistake. They had assumed that by destroying Earth's cities and infrastructure, they had destroyed humanity. They didn't understand that humanity's greatest strength lay not in its buildings or technologies, but in its people. As Haven buzzed with preparations for the coming battle, Alina allowed herself a small smile. The invaders thought they had wiped out humanity. They were about to learn just how wrong they were. The resistance was ready to show the universe what humanity was truly capable of. The real war for Earth was about to begin. The Exodus, journey to the stars. The plan was audacious, born of equal parts desperation and inspiration. As the alien fleet prepared for their final push to assimilate humanity, the Phoenix Initiative prepared for their most daring move yet, a mass exodus from Earth. Dr. Alina Reyes stood before the assembled leaders of the resistance, her voice steady despite the weight of what she was proposing. We can't win this war on Earth. Not yet, but we can ensure humanity's survival and give ourselves a fighting chance. She gestured to a holographic display of the solar system. We've decoded enough of their star charts to know they haven't expanded beyond our system. There's a chance, a small one, that we could establish a colony on one of Saturn's moons, hidden from their sensors. The room erupted in a cacophony of voices. Some called it surrender, others saw it as their only hope. Sergeant Sarah Connor's voice cut through the chaos. It's not about running away. It's about living to fight another day. Dr. Yuki Tanaka nodded in agreement. And more importantly, it's about preserving what makes us human. If we stay, we risk losing everything. Not just our lives, but our very essence. The debate raged for hours, but in the end, the decision was made. Operation Starshot, as it was dubbed, would be humanity's greatest gamble. The next weeks were a blur of feverish activity. Every resistance cell across the globe contributed to the effort. Engineers worked around the clock, retrofitting salvaged alien shuttles with human ingenuity and desperation. The quantum field disruptors were key, allowing them to mask their electromagnetic signatures from alien detection. Jake, once just Alina's assistant, now led a team of brilliant minds in developing life support systems that could sustain thousands for the long journey. It's like trying to build an ark, he quipped, dark circles under his eyes betraying his exhaustion. Except instead of 2 of every animal, we're taking 2 of every scientific discipline. As the day of launch approached, the resistance faced their hardest decision: who would go and who would stay. Earth couldn't be fully abandoned. Someone had to remain to continue the fight and prepare for humanity's eventual return. Sarah, to no one's surprise, volunteered to stay. My place is here, she said, her voice firm. Someone needs to give them hell while you're gone. The selection process was agonizing. Every person chosen to go meant another left behind. Families were split, lovers separated. The weight of those decisions would haunt Alina for years to come. On the eve of the launch, Alina found Sarah standing alone, gazing at the stars that would soon be humanity's new frontier. Second thoughts? Alina asked softly. Sarah shook her head. Just thinking about Rodriguez and all the others we've lost. Hoping their sacrifice means something. Alina placed a hand on Sarah's shoulder. It will. I promise you, we'll come back. Earth isn't lost, just on loan. The next day, as the alien fleet began its ominous approach to Earth, Operation Starshot commenced. Across the globe, hidden launch sites roared to life. The retrofitted alien shuttles, each carrying hundreds of humanity's best and brightest, burst from their concealed hangars. The alien response was immediate and devastating. Energy beams lanced through the sky, turning the air itself into plasma. But for every shuttle lost, 3 more broke through, their quantum disruptors leaving them invisible to alien targeting systems. Alina, strapped into the command seat of the lead shuttle, watched through tear-filled eyes as Earth, scared and transformed by alien terraforming, receded into the distance. The blue marble that had been humanity's cradle for millennia was now a battleground, its future uncertain. The journey to Saturn was fraught with peril. Alien patrols swept the solar system, forcing the human fleet to take a circuitous route. They slingshot around Venus, using its gravity to gain speed while hiding in its thick atmosphere. A daring dash through the asteroid belt cost them 2 shuttles, but threw off their pursuers. As they approached the gas giant, Alina's shuttle took the lead, guiding them to Enceladus, the icy moon they had chosen for their new home. Its subsurface ocean and geothermal activity made it ideal for a hidden colony. Landing on the frozen surface was a challenge unlike any they had faced. The shuttle's engines roared, fighting against the unfamiliar gravity. For a heart-stopping moment, it seemed they might crash, but Jake's modifications held, and they touched down safely. As the airlock cycled and Alina took her first steps onto the icy surface, she felt a mix of triumph and sorrow. They had made it, but at what cost? How many had been left behind? The next months were a blur of constant work. They burrowed into the ice, establishing a base around one of Enceladus' geothermal vents. Yuki's expertise in nanotechnology proved invaluable, allowing them to create self-replicating machines that expanded their living space and recycled every scrap of material. Slowly but surely, their hidden colony, dubbed New Eden in a fit of dark humor, took shape. Hydroponic gardens provided food, while fuel cells powered by Enceladus' internal heat gave them energy. It wasn't Earth, but it was a start. As the immediate needs of survival were met, Alina and her team turned their attention back to the war. They couldn't contact Earth directly without risking detection, but they could listen. The news was grim. The aliens' assimilation process had begun, forcibly altering captured humans on a genetic level. But there was hope, too. Sarah and the remaining resistance fighters were waging a guerrilla war unlike anything in human history. They struck from the shadows, using the quantum disruptors to devastating effect. The aliens, for the first time, seemed uncertain. One day, as Alina pored over intercepted alien communications, she noticed something odd. "These patterns," she muttered, calling Yuki over. "They're changing, becoming more erratic." Yuki's eyes widened as she analyzed the data. "It's not just that. Look at the energy outputs from their ships. They're decreasing." As they dug deeper, a startling picture emerged. The aliens' hyper-advanced AI, which formed the core of their technology, was faltering. The human consciousness they had forcibly integrated was fighting back, creating conflicts in their neural networks. "They thought they could simply assimilate us," Alina breathed, a smile forming on her face. "But they didn't count on human unpredictability, our capacity for rebellion. It was the breakthrough they had been waiting for. If they could exploit this weakness, amplify the discord in the aliens' collective consciousness, they might have a chance to reclaim Earth." Alina called an emergency meeting of New Eden's leadership. As she laid out her findings and her plan, she saw hope rekindling in the eyes of those gathered. They had fled Earth to preserve humanity, but now they had the chance to be its saviors. "We came here to survive," Alina said, her voice ringing through the chamber. "But survival isn't enough. It's time we remembered who we are. Explorers, innovators, fighters. We didn't just carry our genes to this new world, we carried the indomitable human spirit." She pointed to the display showing Earth, a pale blue dot in the vast black of space. "That's our home, and we're going to take it back." As the room erupted in cheers, Alina felt a surge of determination. The Exodus had preserved humanity, given them time to regroup and innovate. Now, armed with new knowledge and technology, born from the fusion of human creativity and alien tech, they were ready to return. The aliens thought they had destroyed humanity, driven them from their home. They were about to learn that humanity's greatest strength lay not in their numbers or their technology, but in their unbreakable will to endure, to adapt, and to fight back against impossible odds. The journey to the stars had been humanity's salvation. Now, it would be the launchpad for their greatest comeback. The war for Earth was entering its final decisive phase. Rebirth on Enceladus. Building a new civilization. The icy surface of Enceladus gleamed under the faint light of distant Saturn, its rings a constant reminder of how far humanity had come. New Eden, once a desperate outpost, had flourished into a thriving underground city. Tunnels and caverns, warmed by the moon's geothermal activity, pulsed with life and innovation. Dr. Alina Reyes stood in the central hub, watching as children born on this alien moon played under artificial sunlight. It had been 5 years since the exodus from Earth. 5 years of struggle, adaptation, and rebirth. Still hard to believe, isn't it? Jake said, joining her. He had grown from a young assistant into a respected engineer, his innovations in sustainable living crucial to their survival. Elena nodded, her eyes fixed on a young girl with bright eyes and a curious smile. Sometimes I wonder if they'll ever know what it means to feel soil under their feet or see a real sky. They will, Jake assured her, when we take back Earth. Their conversation was interrupted by Dr. Yuki Tanaka's excited voice over the comm system. Elena, Jake, you need to see this. Now. They rushed to the research lab, where Yuki was surrounded by holographic displays showing complex data streams. Her eyes were wide with excitement. We've done it, she breathed. We've cracked their primary communication protocol. The implications were staggering. For years, they had been able to intercept alien transmissions but could only understand fragments. Now they had a window into the invaders' plans, and more importantly, their struggles. As they pored over the decrypted data, a picture emerged that filled them with both hope and urgency. The aliens, who called themselves the Collective, were facing a crisis. Their attempt to assimilate human consciousness into their hive mind had backfired spectacularly. Look at this, Elena pointed to a section of the data. Reports of individual units breaking from the Collective, developing individuality. Jake let out a low whistle. They wanted our adaptability, our creativity. Looks like they got more than they bargained for. Yuki nodded grimly. But they're not giving up. They're doubling down on the assimilation process, trying to overwhelm the human elements with sheer numbers. The news from Earth was a mixed bag. Sarah Connor and the Resistance had waged a brilliant guerrilla campaign, liberating thousands from assimilation camps and disrupting alien operations. But the Collective's response had been brutal, accelerating their terraforming efforts and pushing the planet's ecosystem to the brink. We need to act now, Elena declared, before there's no Earth left to save. The next weeks were a whirlwind of activity. The entire population of New Eden mobilized for what they knew would be their greatest challenge yet. Engineers worked tirelessly to upgrade their fleet of ships, incorporating new technologies developed over the past 5 years. Yuki led a team in developing a revolutionary weapon, a targeted electromagnetic pulse that could disrupt the Collective's hive mind without harming individual units. If we can break their connection, she explained, we might be able to free those who've been assimilated. As the preparations reached their final stages, Elena addressed the citizens of New Eden. The cavernous main hall was packed, with thousands more watching via holographic projections throughout the colony. 5 years ago, we fled our home, she began, her voice echoing through the chamber. We came here not in surrender, but with a promise to return, to reclaim what was taken from us. Today, we fulfill that promise. She paused, looking out at the sea of faces. Some were old, bearing the scars of the initial invasion. Others were young, born on this distant moon, knowing Earth only through stories and holograms. We are no longer just the survivors of Earth. We are the children of Enceladus, born of 2 worlds. Our strength lies not just in our technology or our numbers, but in our diversity, our adaptability, our unyielding spirit. A cheer went up, echoing off the icy walls. Elena raised her hand, calling for silence. The road ahead is dangerous. Many of us may not return, but we go not just for ourselves. but for those we left behind, for the billions who perished, for those still fighting on Earth, and for the future of our species. She took a deep breath, her voice filled with determination. The collective thought they could erase us, assimilate us, make us forget what it means to be human. Instead, they've only made us stronger. Today, we show them, and the universe, what humanity truly is. The response was thunderous, a roar of defiance and hope that seemed to shake the very foundations of their underground home. As the assembly dispersed, each person heading to their assigned tasks, Alina felt a mix of pride and trepidation. They had built something remarkable here on Enceladus, a testament to human resilience and ingenuity. Now, they were risking it all. Jake approached her, his face a mixture of excitement and concern. "The first wave is ready," he reported. "We launch in 6 hours." Alina nodded, her mind already racing with last-minute details. "Any word from the Earth resistance?" "Nothing direct," Jake replied. "But we've picked up increased chatter from the collective. Something big is happening down there." "Sarah," Alina murmured. Even after 5 years, the thought of her old friend still brought a pang of worry and admiration. She must have figured out we're coming. As the hours ticked by, New Eden was a hive of activity. The retrofitted alien ships, now enhanced with human innovations, were loaded with troops and equipment. Alina marveled at how far they'd come, from scavenging alien tech to creating hybrid systems that surpassed even the collective's capabilities. Finally, it was time. Alina stood in the command center of the lead ship, christened Phoenix in honor of their initiative. Around her, the crew, a mix of seasoned veterans from the first invasion and young volunteers born on Enceladus, worked with practiced efficiency. "All ships report ready," Jake announced from his station. Alina took a deep breath, her hand hovering over the launch control. This was it, the moment that would define the future of their species. Win or lose, the fate of humanity would be decided in the coming battle. "For Earth," she said, her voice steady. "For humanity." She pressed the button. With a rumble that shook the icy surface of Enceladus, the first wave of ships burst from their underground hangars. They streaked across the sky, a fleet born of desperation and hope, carrying the last, best chance for humanity's survival. As Enceladus receded behind them, Alina's thoughts turned to Earth. What would they find? How much had changed in 5 years of alien occupation? And most importantly, were they ready for what lay ahead? The fleet accelerated, pushing past Saturn's rings and into the vast expanse of space. Their journey home had begun. The final battle for Earth, for the very essence of what it meant to be human, was about to unfold. Operation Homecoming. Humanity's triumphant return. The journey back to Earth was tense, filled with anticipation and dread. As the fleet approached the outer edges of the solar system, they received their first clear view of their home planet. The sight was shocking. Earth's once blue oceans had turned a sickly green, its landmasses scared by alien structures that gleamed with an otherworldly light. "My God," Jake whispered, staring at the holographic display. "What have they done to it?" Alina's jaw tightened. "They've changed it, but not destroyed it. Not yet." As they neared Mars, they picked up a weak, encrypted signal, a message from the Earth resistance. Sarah Connor's voice, distorted but unmistakable, filled the command center. "Anyone out there? This is Earth resistance. The collective is. Final phase. Need immediate. Running out of time." The message cut off abruptly, but its meaning was clear. The situation on Earth was dire. "All ships, battle stations," Alina commanded. "We're going in hot." The fleet burst past the moon, using its gravity to slingshot towards Earth. As they entered the atmosphere, the collective's defense grid came alive. Energy beams lanced through the sky, while swarms of smaller alien craft rose to meet them. "Evasive maneuvers," Alina shouted. "Activate quantum disruptors." The human fleet scattered, their ships dancing through the alien defenses with agility that caught the collective off guard. Years of simulations and training in the harsh conditions of Enceladus had honed their skills to razor sharpness. Jake's voice cut through the chaos. "Elena, look. The disruptors. They're working better than we thought." He was right. The quantum field disruptors, refined over years of research, were not just evading the alien sensors. They were actively interfering with the collective's neural network. Alien ships began to move erratically, some even colliding with each other. "Push the advantage," Elena ordered. "All ships target their main communication hubs." The battle raged across the skies of Earth, a spectacular light show for the embattled humans on the ground. In New York, London, Tokyo, in the ruins of once great cities, people emerged from hidden bunkers, staring up in awe and hope. As the Phoenix dove through a gauntlet of enemy fire, Elena spotted a massive structure rising from what used to be the Amazon rainforest. "That's it," she realized. "Their primary control node." She opened a channel to the entire fleet. "All ships, form up on me. We're taking out their brain." The assault on the control node was fierce. Alien defenses, operating on backup systems, fought with desperate intensity. But the human fleet, empowered by their hybrid technology and burning with the desire to reclaim their home, was unstoppable. "Now, Yuki," Elena commanded as they breached the final layer of defenses. Dr. Tanaka, monitoring the battle from a secure facility on Enceladus, activated their secret weapon, a massive electromagnetic pulse, fine-tuned to disrupt the collective's hive mind without harming individual units. The effect was immediate and dramatic. Across the globe, alien ships fell from the sky. On the ground, assimilated humans collapsed, the cybernetic implants that bound them to the collective going dark. For a moment, an eerie silence fell over the battlefield. Then, from the ruins of the control node, a familiar figure emerged. Sarah Connor, battered but unbowed, leading a group of resistance fighters. "Took you long enough," she quipped as Elena's ship landed. The reunion was brief but emotional. There was no time for lengthy explanations. The collective, though disrupted, was not defeated. Its vast AI core, hidden deep beneath the Earth's surface, was already attempting to reestablish control. "We need to end this," Sarah said grimly. "Once and for all." Elena nodded. "We have a plan for that too." Over the next hours, a daring operation unfolded. While the fleet engaged the remaining alien forces, Elena, Sarah, and a small team infiltrated the collective's core. Their goal was not to destroy it, but to communicate with it. Deep in the heart of the alien stronghold, they found what they were looking for: a vast, pulsating network of organic and synthetic components. The true form of the collective. "Ready?" Elena asked, holding up a device that Yuki had designed, a neural interface that would allow direct communication with the alien intelligence. Sarah gripped her weapon tightly. "Do it." As Elena activated the device, her mind was flooded with alien sensations and thoughts. The collective's consciousness, vast and ancient, pressed against her own. For a moment, she feared being overwhelmed, lost in the alien hive mind. But then she felt something else. Echoes of human thoughts, the countless minds the collective had tried to assimilate. They were still there, still fighting. With all her will, Elena pushed back against the alien presence. She showed it memories of Earth's beauty, of human resilience, of the colony on Enceladus. She showed it the power of individual thought, of creativity born from diversity. The collective reeled, its unified mind fracturing under the assault of human individuality. It had sought to absorb humanity, to add their adaptability to its own power. Instead, it found itself being changed, transformed by the very qualities it had tried to exploit. In a blinding flash of insight, both human and alien, a new understanding was reached. The collective, for the first time in its long existence, grasped the concept of symbiosis, a mutual existence that didn't require the erasure of individuality. As Elena's consciousness returned to her body, she found herself on her knees, gasping. Sarah helped her up, looking concerned and confused. What happened? Did it work? Elena managed a weak smile. It's over. They understand now. In the days that followed, the true scale of their victory became clear. The collective, its hive mind transformed by human influence, began to withdraw. Assimilated humans were freed, their minds their own once more. The alien terraforming process was halted, and in many cases reversed. The war was over, but the work had just begun. Earth was scared, its ecosystems damaged, its population decimated. Yet amid the ruins, hope blossomed. Humans from Enceladus worked alongside the resistance and even reformed collective units to rebuild. 1 year after the battle, Elena stood on a hilltop overlooking the restored Amazon rainforest. The alien structures were gone, replaced by a harmonious blend of Earth's native flora and new beneficial alien species. Sarah joined her, looking out over the renewed landscape. Still hard to believe sometimes, she mused. Elena nodded. We didn't just reclaim our world. We changed the course of galactic history. Indeed, the transformed collective had shared its vast knowledge with humanity. Faster than light travel, advanced medical technology, the secrets of dozens of alien worlds, all were now within reach. So, Sarah said with a grin, where do we go from here? Elena's eyes twinkled with excitement. Everywhere, she replied. The stars are waiting. As they stood there, watching the sun set on a restored Earth, Elena reflected on the journey that had brought them to this point. The aliens had come to destroy humanity, to absorb what made them unique. Instead, they had unleashed the very qualities that made humans indomitable: adaptability, creativity, and an unyielding spirit. The invasion hadn't wiped out humanity. It had propelled them to the stars, forged them into something greater than they had been before. As the first starships, born from the union of human ingenuity and alien technology, prepared to launch, Elena knew that this was not the end of their story. It was just the beginning.